Hey AfterBuzzers, you're watching the AfterBuzz TV after show for the original season 3, episode 17, Behind the Black Horizon. Stay tuned as we give you our thoughts, predictions, and loves.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Baby,
Sorry, I love this song. Hello everyone, I'm Tiona Hobson, filling in for that horrible girl, Roxy Stryer, who's not here today. I'm just joking, I love her, Roxy, I love you. Make sure you tweet her at Roxy Stryer and give her lots of love. Tell her that you missed her and that she should never, ever, ever miss another episode of the originals again. You can tweet me at the Tiona Hobson. And sitting across from me tonight, I've got the lovely, Katie says, yay, Katie Campbell.
Yay! You guys can find me on Twitter at Katie E.E. Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell.
3 E's, guys. Don't forget the third E, or you're just not talking to Katie.
Exactly.
So tonight's episode was great. A lot of things happened. A lot of confusing things for Katie and I happened, which is why Roxy should really be here, but she's not. So bear with us as we try to figure everything out. Before we get started, you guys all know Julie Plec because we love her. We watch her TV show. So I'm going to tell you about a new show that she has coming up Tuesday, April 19th on the CW. It's coming and there's no cure. The greatest enemy comes from within. From co-creator of the Vampire Diaries and originals, Julie Plec, and Emmy Award-winning director of Game of Thrones, comes the riveting outbreak thriller Containment. When a mysterious and deadly epidemic breaks out in Atlanta, a massive urban quarantine is quickly enforced. Loved ones will be torn apart, and those on both sides of the fence will be put to the ultimate test of survival. Not just fighting disease, but fear, isolation, and the unknown. But is this virus an act of Mother Nature, terrorism, or something far more sinister? The truth will not be contained. Secrets begin to unravel, society begins to crumble, but unlikely heroes will rise. Ordinary people will defy the most extraordinary odds. Don't miss this utterly terrifying yet highly anticipated new series, Containment. The must-see limited series event premieres Tuesday, April 19th, and you can catch it only on the CW. And I know you know what channel that is already because you watch all her other shows, so make sure.
I am so excited for this.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it. No word on who the final panel is going to be yet, but let's just say that things are looking good, and hopefully we have some familiar faces there. Now let's talk about the originals. So Lucian had this, apparently he's a lot smarter than I gave him credit for this whole time.
I know. So is it confirmed that he's the Beast?
I pretty positive at this point, yes.
Because, you know, there's got to be some kind of, we have what, 5 episodes left?
Yeah,
What is
22.
this?
So
Yeah.
this is 17.5.
So there's got to be some kind of twist or something near the end. Is he the final Beast, or is he just, they're trying to make us think he's the Beast right now?
He's the setup of the pre-Beast.
Yeah.
Maybe, because I was thinking the same thing, just because, not to flash forward too fast, but for next week's previews, it shows a lot of, you know, what seems like a big showdown between everyone.
Right.
And I was like, well, it's too soon for Lucian to go away already, so it'll be interesting to see how this continues to plan out.
Yeah, because also the whole season has been about this prophecy, and he touched upon that he didn't create the prophecy, but he saw it, so he took advantage of it.
He decided he was going to be the person to make sure it came true.
Right, so that says maybe there is a Beast, and he's going to say, I'll be the Beast. You can't say you'll be the Beast if there's a prophecy that's going to be happening. There's going to be a Beast, and it's not going to be you.
But with all prophecies, they don't actually come to fold until someone reads about it or sees it and then puts the path in motion. I mean, I know I bring up Harry Potter a lot, but, you know, in Harry Potter, it's like they got the prophecy, and Voldemort chose which kid it was going to be, because it actually could have been Neville Longbottom, because him and Harry had the same, were born around the same time. So, like, the prophecies are very vague, and until someone does something to put them in action, like, you don't, I just feel like prophecies never are clear, and they don't always have to come true the way that they're spelled out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he could be potentially.
But what I want to talk about is why do the ancestors love him so much? Okay, so we find out that his plan from the start, when he got here, he made a deal with the ancestors, and I wrote it down, and the deal was that he would get access to the regent whenever he called for it in exchange for providing a world without originals. But shouldn't the ancestors be a little more smart? Because sure, he's putting down originals, but did you not know that he was creating something far worse than originals?
Right. And he, at the very least, he's trying to become one, right?
Yeah.
So even if he's not going worse than the originals, he's trying to become an original. And if the ancestors want the originals down, he's still going to be out there as an original. Also, do they not see that he has no sanity?
Right?
The whole time, WTF ancestors, why ancestors? I don't understand how they're helping him. He's clearly crazy.
Yes, and I know that the ancestors have a very, very tense relationship with the Michelson family. And that I think that the best thing was when the ancestors always said, you know, they're staying out of vampire business.
Yeah.
And now it's not the witches who are making the decisions to help vampires, because, you know, we saw it with Bonnie, we saw it with Davina, we saw it with all these people who are witches who were helping vampires, and the ancestors getting mad at them. And now the ancestors are the one giving all of their power to one person. And I cannot remember specifics right now, but I just think that it never ends well when the ancestors get involved and actually decide to help vampires.
Yeah, because in the originals, or in the Vampire Diaries, when we first saw Esther, the whole story about the originals and how they became vampires, and Esther did this to them, she created, not to get into the Vampire Diaries, but she created an Alaric, an original vampire, put a time limit on him, and she had the ancestors behind her for that. So maybe they're helping him, but maybe they have some kind of plan where they can take him out too. They're only going to help him so much because it's not going to last forever.
Yeah, well, right now it's stupid.
Yeah.
So Lucian has both Freya and Vincent, and they're in Mystic Falls, which, yay, Mystic Falls, awesome. But
I kind of want to live there.
you would want to live
in
Mystic Falls. Stefan doesn't live there anymore.
Well,
So
he'll
it's
be
okay.
back.
So he's at the site where Esther created the original vampires, and it was so nice to see the little flashback to the scene of when they were created, because Rebecca, I saw you there, Claire.
I know.
Got me really excited, thinking like, oh my gosh, is she coming back? And then I was like, no, she's not.
I thought she might, because we saw her in the previously.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like she will make another appearance this season
I hope so.
before it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way they talk about her, and it just feels like it's leading to us seeing Rebecca
Right.
At some point. But so Vincent is doing the spell, and Lucian has said that he kind of upped the ante on the spell a little bit, because Freya's like, you want to be an original? Like,
Yeah.
how boring. But he's like, no, I've made some changes to it. And I mean, when the spell is finished, first of all, Vincent is like on the ground. It took so much out of him. By the way, Vincent in this episode was amazing, first of all. And then when he was doing all these things where, you know, the ancestors were messing with him, he went into like almost a full backbend of like agony and pain. And I don't know if that was real life, if he just does a lot of yoga and is that flexible and can actually do that, or if, you know, he was wearing a harness. But whatever it was, I thought it was real, and I thought it was great. And I was like, oh my gosh. I wrote in here, how flexible is he?
I love that. But seriously, though, because he bent so far back, and every time he does do those spells and he gets affected by the ancestors, he just portrays it like it's really affecting him, and you feel it.
Mm-hmm. Like my body, I was like, ouch, my body can't. Oh, like,
I know.
You know,
I like that.
That's the most I can do. It's just like a little underarm scratching like a monkey almost.
Oh my
gosh. And people are like, and this is why we prefer Roxy when she hosts.
No, that's amazing.
So, you know, we get through the spell, and what I loved about Vincent too was that even though the ancestors kept trying to stop him from doing anything that he was trying to do, since they were encouraging him to help and he was trying to fight them and, you know, stop Lucian from being able to do it, he still, you know, would go through the pain and accept whatever it was to, like, I'm not letting you take that. And It didn't work, but at least he tried.
Being the regent right now is a curse.
Yeah, I mean, Davina should be very happy that she's not the regent anymore.
Oh my gosh.
And speaking of her, Vincent kind of left her some clues because the ancestors are forcing him to help. So, St. James Bar, where no magic can happen, he leaves her some clues, and, we find out that the link between Finn and Vincent's body, even though they're separated now, there's still a blood connection between them, and that we can use this to try to track where Lucian has taken Freya.
I feel like that was a kind of a reach. I don't know.
I mean, a little bit.
So anybody, or is it just because he's an original that there's still a connection there, or is it anybody that maybe inhabits a body for a while?
I feel like anyone who inhabits a body, only because it's a very personal thing that once your soul was in someone else's body, it feels like no matter what, there's always going to be a little piece of that person.
Okay.
A part of you. It might not play a big factor, but I feel like it would have a small role in this. But yeah, I did agree that was a little bit of a stretch. So this actually starts off Finn and Elijah going on an awesome little brotherly road trip to go save their sister.
Although Finn just doesn't even consider Elijah a brother.
He doesn't. And they have a lot of great conversations. Like, Finn was explaining, he was daggered for 900 years and what that can go, like what you mentally go through. He's like, of course I woke up angry every time. I was in the Black Horizon, name of the episode. I
didn't even put that together.
He actually referenced looking into the Black Horizon and the darkness and the utter loneliness.
And the despair.
And I was like, wow, I really kind of feel bad for Finn right now.
I actually did too. And why did they take him away when they were just starting to make me feel like, you know what? I see his side. Because a lot of times I've been feeling, okay, get over it. It was a long time ago. But when he just describes it and that's how he's actually feeling, I mean, it is sad. Klaus just daggered him because he was in the way or he was being annoying at the time. Or I don't know.
And when he was like, Klaus and Kol were going around murdering millions and, actually probably should have been put on a timeout. But it was always me. And but Elijah did have a good comeback to that. You hated what we were. You were a liability to the way we lived our lives.
But didn't he say after that, that's the point that he said, well, I didn't start out like that. He became that way after the first time he was daggered.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you guys feel bad for Finn? Because I kind of felt bad for Finn.
We got a tweet. I can't remember specifically who it was, but that just as they started liking Finn, he was taken away.
This is true. But I also wasn't surprised that he was taken away because he usually only lasts like 1 to 2 episodes per time he's back here. But.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was that impactful, but I guess I should start thinking it now. But he always comes back. I guess he can't now.
I think that's the
wasn't
kicker here.
It wasn't that strong for me because he's died so many times before.
Yeah, I was kind of numb to it.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about more of it later, but I did feel some ways because we can't forget that we got to see Maddie Blue Eyes in Mystic Falls with Finn and Elijah, which is great because Maddie Blue Eyes is actually the one who killed Finn.
Yeah.
Back in, gosh, how long ago was that?
Seasons ago. We first met him, right?
Yeah, so season 3 of Vampire Diaries, I think.
That's when they all came around.
Yeah, so
every time we get any sort of a crossover, whether this is considered crossover or not, Matt being in the originals, I get so excited like they're my actual friends. And I put smiley faces all over my paper. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, Matt. And I felt the same way when we saw Stefan in the originals and Klaus in the Vampire Diaries. I get so excited.
Katie says, yay.
Yay.
So, it was good to see Matt there. He was kind of a jerk. Like, I just got the vampires out of my town. What are you doing here?
It was right after he kicked Stefan out.
Yeah, because
Timeline-wise,
it's right after they got kicked out, and now there's nothing but humans living in Mystic Falls, which is great. Good for them. Economy's going back good. He also learns that they have another sister.
Yeah.
Which is always fun for me, too, because I forget that because I watch both shows, I know what's going on in everyone's lives, but they don't keep in touch with each other.
Yeah.
So Matt wouldn't know that they had another sister, Freya, who is now back in their lives. So,
and I'm wondering now, did he go back and tell anybody? Probably not, because he was
really talking to anyone.
Right.
And Stefan knows about her because he was just over there.
That's right. And he helped her out with the whole...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it was fun. He helps them go confront Lucian. This is where things get very meshed together. Mm-hmm. So Finn and Elijah and Matt, they're all there. They're having a standoff with Lucian. He's got Freya, and he's like, he drank the potion.
Yeah, the
I don't know what
thing.
to call it. It looked like a bunch of blood. He drank some blood.
Yeah.
And then Finn shoots him with Matt's gun, and he shoots Freya in the shoulder, which then pierces Lucian's heart, killing him.
What a gamble.
Super gamble. But don't worry, they're vampires, so they can just give her some blood and she's fine. But
true.
What they didn't know is that this was actually part of his plan, because he's already drank the elixir and now he needed to die to come back as whatever it is that he has created himself to be.
Super original.
Super original.
Yeah.
Like superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's on another level.
Yeah. So he comes back and he's he bites Finn.
Yeah.
So he's like part wolf now. He's part hybrid and...
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. I think it is a hybrid original.
Or is he just a vampire with like werewolf venom type bites that he can give?
Okay. Yeah. So you don't have to... so he's not going to be turning into a wolf or anything like that?
I don't think that he'll be turning into anything. He just has
the venom, not like the werewolf gene and running through his veins. Okay. What do you call that then?
A beast.
Okay. All right. Beast for now. I'm still thinking there's got to be something else.
Super... someone in the chat, Boo69Bs, said Lucian is a super hybrid. So yeah, maybe a super hybrid works for that.
But he's not a hybrid if he's not full wolf. Or like half wolf. You know what I mean?
That's true. I don't know. I used to think Lucian was going to be a cool person who... I was giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, you were?
Well, because I knew he was working with Aurora and them, but then he ultimately, as Klaus's sire line, I was like, okay, he's not going to let anything happen to Klaus because then he would die. And then once that got broken, I mean, he disappeared for a while, so I kind of forgot about him because we were so focused on the other two crazies that I was like, okay, maybe he's not as bad as I think he is. I had no idea he was, especially because he was always, and maybe that's why you never think about the poor, like, quiet guy who's in the corner, who Klaus steals the girl who he's in love with, but then he's still loyal to Klaus for years, and then Klaus sends him off thinking that he's an original and has to run for his life, and all these circumstances. So he is kind of like the least likely person you think to be smart enough to do all these things.
But remember when he was carving that line in his face, like the Joker?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who does that to themselves, to torture themselves about the past, the horrific things that he's been through, So he's got some kind of screws loose. And I always thought I never could trust him. I never knew what side he was on. I never believed what he said, but he did go away. You're right. He went away for a while. So it just, okay, well, he's crazy and he's weird.
And then he was being held captive. So I'm thinking, okay, clearly he was a threat to them. So
that was fake, though. That was a setup, right?
Yeah.
So
he's a smart kid, that guy. But, him biting Finn actually gets Klaus back. We'll talk about Claylee in a little bit. But it brings him back, and he tries to save his brother, which, is a big step for Klaus because none of them like Finn. But Elijah's like, look, we have to try to save him. They think it works. It doesn't. So Klaus's blood is no good, and this bite can actually kill an original.
Yeah, because this venom, too, worked super fast. Like, twice as fast as it usually does.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy, but I love the family moment that they had as he was dying, as bad as that is. But he finally got his always and forever. He got to be part of like the little pack that they have.
And he actually too, he felt it. He said that. I felt that today. He felt the family, which is nice, but I actually cried.
Of course you cried, Katie. Know. Everyone knows. Everyone was just waiting for you to say that you cried.
And then in the little funeral they had for him, cried some more.
Oh, that funeral was so touching. But it's definitely illegal to spread ashes into bodies of water like that, so.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Why do people do it then? Do they get permits or they just do it?
No, you just do it and you hope you don't get caught.
Huh.
It's actually not.
People do it and post it on Facebook.
Yeah. Which is how a lot of criminals get caught nowadays, because they post their crimes on social media.
Oh my gosh.
Well, those things.
I didn't know that. Well, Freya, though, what made me cry the most was her relationship with him and how much he meant to her during both of those moments when he was actually dying and her at the funeral thing that they had, her breaking, she was breaking down over it and getting choked up. It was just really good acting on her part because
it really was.
I felt so sad for her.
I was really sad for her. I was sad for a lot of people. I was sad for Kolvina tonight because Kol has been angry and we've known he's got some anger issues for a while. It was Davina who was the only one blind to anything bad that he was doing. Tonight, dealing with this family, she saw the random outbursts, and then when he was trying to help her, he gets in her face.
He's yelling at her.
They went to go visit Cammy, who, she's alive still.
I love Cammy, and I love the dark object situation. I want more of that.
I liked Cammy's hair.
Yeah.
I really liked her hair today. I was like, oh, she's going for like that fresh little summer wave.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
Yeah.
I liked it. Forgot she was alive still.
Oh, I was just waiting for her to come back. But I'll tell you what's interesting is that she saw the look in Cole's face and it reminded her of her uncle being cursed. I didn't catch that. I just still I thought it was his anger and his rage because we saw Kol back in the day when we first met him, Vampire Diaries. He was crazy and he was angry and always out with a vengeance. And I was surprised that she caught that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting way to go with it because my thing with Kolvina, I've said it on the show many times, is that I love them together. I like who they are as a couple, but it always scares me of Davina being with him because he is so untrustworthy and such an evil person, or at least he was such an evil person. And so since he's been back and been a vampire, all I can think is, Davina, maybe you shouldn't have done this. I told you so, basically, is what I was thinking. I never even thought the ancestors messed with the curse that I used to bring him back, and he's been cursed.
Yeah. Well, something bad had to happen because you can't just bring somebody back from the dead and nothing be a repercussion. And it wasn't a natural repercussion. It was the ancestors because they hate him, right?
Well, Davina makes it seem like a little bit of that mixed in with they couldn't get to her, so they're using Kol.
Okay. To get to her?
I think this is meant to hurt her because she's watching the man she loves go crazy, and you never know if he would snap and do something to her. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was when she said that line that I was like, oh, so is this about you or is it about the Michelsons? Because
maybe a little bit of both.
Maybe it's a little bit of both.
Because they were torturing him there wherever he was too, on that little other side situation. And
we know that the ancestors and Davina aren't getting along either. So how convenient that Vincent, who him and Davina have been kind of on the outs since her whole Regency thing.
Right.
And now they're going to be working together because he's like, look, I used to respect the ancestors, but I've watched them use people, destroy them, and then dump them and leave them in the dust of whatever it is, and I'm sick of it.
What makes them better than the originals doing all these terrible things in their mind, and Klaus killing and doing this, but what makes them better if they're doing the same thing to hurt people?
I think it's all about perspective.
Okay.
The ancestors think that what they're doing is for the greater good. What Davina thinks she's doing by bringing Kol back is for the greater good.
Yeah,
everyone has their own agendas, so no one is ever really right.
Right.
In this world.
There's not a right and a wrong.
Yeah.
Can't we just all get along?
Katie wants to sing Kumbaya and sit at a fire in the woods with all the wolves.
But then we would never have this amazing show, so.
So it's all good. But I am excited to see Davina and Vincent working together to... How are you going to bring down the ancestors? Because eventually you're going to have to leave this bar and actually go outside and try to use some magic, and they're going to do whatever voodoo stuff they do to stop you from doing anything.
Yeah, every single meeting has to be in St. James Bar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how do you go out there? Because they're able to stop the Regent from stopping Lucian, so... What are they going to... Oh, they're going to use the dark objects.
I mean, they do have Cammy right there.
Yeah, that's because they can't just like throw us these dark objects every now and then not have something huge for them.
Yeah.
Give us this backstory of them being in Cammy's, family forever. Although they were Kol's at first. They were Dahlia's at one point, right?
Yeah. Well, Kol invented most of them.
Okay.
When he was working with those witches.
Okay.
Back in the day.
That's right. She just used dark magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see kind of how they go about that process. And if Davina, do you tell Kol, hey, I tested your blood and you're cursed by the ancestors, so maybe you should try not to get angry about things like they're trying to get to you on purpose.
Listen, you tell him that, he's gonna freak out.
Exactly.
He's gonna have this rage temper situation, because he kind of did, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He freaked out. Didn't she mention it to him?
I don't think she mentioned it to him.
I thought eventually she did. She did.
Because we never saw them together after he punched the mirror.
Okay.
And then, you know what? She did say something about Cammy said that.
Yeah. This was right as he was punching the mirror. She said, Cammy said, yeah, and Kol doesn't think he's cursed.
Yeah. But now do you say, hey, but I tested your blood and Cammy was right?
He's still not going to believe it.
I don't think so either.
I've been so annoyed with Kol over this whole rage thing. I have a little bit of sympathy for him now that I know he's cursed, but I still think he needs to get a handle on things, or at least try to fight it.
Yeah.
Kol really grew on me being in that witch body. He seemed like he was becoming a better person, and he loved Davina, and maybe it is just the curse, but
we've also seen the side of him before with no curse, so it's hard to
go between the
two and figure out, how much of this is actually a curse versus his true nature just shining through.
Because I feel like even if there was no curse, I think Kol would have a little bit of the rage issues and the temper issues because of who he was as a vampire. And if you're not a vampire for a long time and you come back into that body and the bloodlust is going to be strong again, you haven't been there in a while. You haven't dealt with that in a while. So I think there would be some of this anyway.
I think so too. Interesting.
We'll see.
We'll see. And meanwhile, we have Klaus and Hayley, who are still on the run, but now they've got a plan. They're going to all of Lucian's business offices to find out, what's going on, what his plan is. All the offices look the same, have the same sort of receptionists, the outside, exterior, everything is the same. And so they get to this one in particular.
Tennessee.
Yeah, in Tennessee. And right when Klaus tries to compel the receptionist to tell him where the secret door is, boom, the SWAT team basically comes out the woodworks. Yeah. And it was so cute because Klaus is like, ladies first.
Yeah.
When they get into their action-packed fighting thing.
What did you think about him staying behind to do this with her too, as opposed to, they can handle Freya, I'll help you with the wolf situation? Did you think of that as more than just a business friendship thing?
Here's the thing. He said, hang on, I wrote it in here somewhere. Klaus said multiple times, like, we're staying together. He's like, no, I'm going to stay with you. No, we can do this together. It was a lot of together and working as a team. And I said this last week, I believe. I like Klaus and Hayley working together. I like them together. I think that in the vein of like a Caroline, she is helping him be a better person, and we're seeing a different side of Klaus when he's around Hayley and he's making smarter, nicer decisions. I don't necessarily think it's a romantic thing at this point, but I still love them together. Like, I'm a huge Clayley fan right now, which is big for me because I was not like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I like them together. I'm just still not sure that I'm shipping them as a romantic thing or as just like a father mother like duo who's doing the right thing.
They should definitely be on good terms for that in itself, because there's hope in the picture too. And I actually, you know, I've always loved Camille, and that seems like it's being put on hold, so I'm respecting whatever they're giving us, and I do like seeing them together, whether it ends up into a romantic thing or not. I'm enjoying the scenes. I like that they're getting along. They should be.
They should be. And I think I wouldn't want to see him trying to get with someone else again. It's like, why does it always have to be a romantic thing? Why can't we just have him work on himself? Because until he works on himself, he's not gonna be able to be in a relationship with any of these girls. Camille, Caroline, Hayley, like, it doesn't matter who it is. He can't be in a relationship with any of them until he fixes himself. Right. I'm saying this like he's a real guy who I'm just like, he needs to be fixed.
But he needs to work on some things. I think he has shown a lot of progress with certain aspects, and
he has.
Maybe it's the effect some people have on him.
Exactly. And this building is so weird because after they kick all the SWAT team's ass, they find, you know, a quarantined off section where they find 7 wolves who are all hooked up to like IVs and wearing these gas mask things. They look like Bane from Batman. And there's the one old guy who Hayley keeps like talking to. Is like, it's okay. He's like, I don't want vampire blood. And she's like, I'm a hybrid. It's okay. Everyone else had some. And then, you know, Klaus leaves to go save his brother. And then as Hayley's talking to this guy, we learn that he's from one of the 7 packs of werewolves, like 7 original packs, I'm assuming is what they meant. I wrote down the names of all of them. There's Deepwater, Malraux, Bass Rock, Barry, Poldark, and Paxson. Oh, and basically what Lucian was doing down there... Oh, and there was one vampire.
That they completely tortured.
Pretty much. So what they were doing was they kept shooting her full of werewolf venom, and that's what they needed the werewolves there was for the venom. They would shoot her full of it and then use their cure to fix it until the last time they shot her up with something so powerful that there's no cure for it. And it's like, dun, dun, dun.
And that's what Finn got.
That's what Finn got bit with, is that Lucian made himself. His venom is derived from all 7 of the packs, which Hayley is a straight descendant of one, and Klaus is a straight descendant of one. And he made 2 vials of the venom stuff for someone else to drink. And he goes and rescues Aurora out of Klaus's chamber hell wall.
Yeah. So Klaus's blood fixes all, no matter whose bite it is, like no matter what pack you're from, if you bite a vampire, Klaus can fix you. Yeah. No matter what pack. Yeah. So what would be the antidote for this? Klaus plus...
I don't know that there is an antidote for it because it's so powerful that it didn't, like, his blood didn't work for it.
What if you mix... Hayley is a part of her own sire line, right? Yeah, because she had the heart that everybody was...
Well, for, like, the vampire side of her, but she's still a straight descendant of one of the wolves because she was born a wolf.
Right, that's right. Okay. So there's no cure.
I don't know. Maybe we need a little hope.
What do you think? Oh, yeah, because she's all 3 things, and she is powerful. We got a lot of that last season.
We haven't seen her that much.
No, not of all of her things that she could do. Yeah. What did you think about Freya saying... Okay, there were 2 vials, so maybe...
Oh, maybe it wears off.
Yeah, and then Klaus saying, no, maybe it's enough for 2. Who do you think's right? Because, yeah, they did show us previews, and maybe they were alluding to go that way, but maybe it's different.
I'm going with Klaus, because... Okay. If there was a chance that it could wear off, why would Lucian, like, kill himself, basically, and be reborn just for this to wear off? And, like... If that wears off, you are that now. So if it wears off, he dies.
Yeah. Well, maybe he doesn't know that it wears off, and the 2 vials were because there's 2 people that were going to have it. But maybe it does wear off because the ancestors are actually not crazy. I would like to think that, like, they're not really putting their faith in Lucian.
I do want to have faith in the ancestors, but I've lost it. They've gone too far off the deep end this time. But yeah, I want to know how Lucian got Aurora out, because she was supposed to be magically bound in there where, like, no one could penetrate through.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe he was there when she was put in the wall, so how did she know where to find her is another question. There's just, I mean, and I was like, I can't believe they're ending it just like that, and I don't have answers to these questions.
No, and him being in love with her just shows who he is as a person, because she is absolutely crazy.
She is crazy.
And I don't know, I was glad she was put in the wall. I don't know if I really want to see her back, because I just thought she's just...
But see, when they put her in the wall, I knew eventually she would come back. I didn't expect it to be, like, right now.
Right.
But Cam even said, you know, Elijah, why didn't you kill her?
Yeah.
You know, you must still have, or sorry, Klaus, why didn't you kill her? And you must still have some sort of feelings for her, because if it was anyone else, you would have just ripped their head off and burned them and all that jazz.
Well, it can be argued that way, but I also see it in the way that Klaus wants her to suffer, and killing her would be too much mercy.
Yeah.
And with Tristan, too. Like, do you think he's going to come back now? Maybe?
Maybe. I mean, it's just one of those things where now, because you let them live because you wanted them to suffer instead of just ending their lives, now there's always the chance that they could come back at any point, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so this game's gonna get crazier and crazier. Before we get into predictions, I do have a little bit of news and gossip for everyone.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so first of all, round of applause, Joseph Morgan's directorial debut. And I mean, it was not an easy episode by any means. There was a lot of stuff going on that he had to deal with. And as a first-time director, I think he did a great job. Well, director for this series, because he has directed other things. So I went back to reading Julie's blog this week, and I've got some tidbits from set. One of them is that they ended up giving Joseph the nickname Captain Morgan because he was, you know, the leader of the helm and had to deal with a lot of stuff. It's also a great rum. Yeah. I remember drinking that when I was in college. And then another tidbit from set is that Daniel and Casper, Elijah and Finn, they did their own stunt driving for when they were driving past the Mystic Falls sign. Yeah. And they said that Elijah's Porsche was, or Daniel drove the car so fast that the cameraman almost got whiplash trying to capture it. And Casper was disappointed because he wanted Daniel to drive faster. So they were really driving very, very fast.
What was the speed?
They didn't say the speed because they probably didn't want to write it out in print. But I mean, it's a closed set, so it should have been very safe.
Yeah.
Another fun fact is that during one of the big outdoor fight scenes, it started snowing on and off during the shoot. So they had to film the whole thing with snow, and then they had to film another one with no snow so that they could keep the continuity in case, like, because they didn't know what the weather was going to be like.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, not only did he have to direct everything, and then you have to direct the same scene twice. Yeah. Like, after getting all the angles and stuff, like, that's got to be very, very hard. And then the last thing is that they said that Joseph bought himself a fancy puffy jacket to keep himself warm during the cold outdoor shoots as a gift to himself for his first time directing. And he ended up burning a hole in it because he was standing too close to the heater.
Oh my gosh, that's a powerful heater.
Yeah, very powerful heater. So that's a little bit of fun from the set. Make sure you check out Julie's blog on Entertainment Weekly. She does it for originals and for Vampire Diaries. And it's always full of just a little Julie knowledge, which is fun. Okay, so let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, well, I'm catching up on the live chat and YouTube, and Ahmad Kwawam said that they've read special info that before the season finale, 2 more characters will die after Finn's death. So it's not... Those are the rumors going around.
Who do you think it'll be if that's true?
Aurora and Lucian.
Okay, yeah.
At least that's who I hope it is. It's probably not going to be them because...
Well, usually that happens, too, by the end. I mean, we got Dahlia gone at the end of season 2.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, what about... Do you think Vincent would die? Like, it's saving?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I really like Vincent's
Me
character
too.
where he's kind of come and gone, too.
But I could totally see him being the character that is going to just sacrifice himself.
I could see that happening, too.
What about Kol?
I actually thought Kol was going to die this episode. I started getting feelings of like, oh, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I got that feeling, but I just started getting that feeling. But then it's also another Finn thing where, gosh, how many times did we bring Kol back just to have him killed off or daggered or in some way incapacitated where he's not around anymore? And it's like, gosh, I would really love to just have the originals around, you know?
And another thing I was sad about, too, was Rebecca wasn't there for the little mini funeral for Finn.
Yes, I was very sad by that.
That would have been a good point to bring her in, just to come in for the funeral real quick.
Okay, so I wasn't going to say this person, but the chat roll has said her name a couple times. They're saying that Davina might be one of the ones who dies. And I actually was, and someone else wrote Cammy, someone saying Josh. I definitely had the thoughts of Davina, but I feel like because I'm such a Davina hater, I couldn't say her name. But since other people said it, maybe...
Oh, this is scary.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't want to lose any of them besides Lucian and Aurora.
Yeah, so it could be very scary.
Yeah.
But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And where can they find you this week to talk more originals?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell. Instagram at KatieCampbell13 and YouTube.com/KatieCampbellOnline. I have a vlog.
And make sure you guys tweet and give your love to Roxy Stryer, even though she wasn't here tonight. Tell her how much you hated missing her, and or tell her that Tiona's taking over your job and there's no need for her to come back. You can find her at Roxy Stryer all over the internet. Check out all the shows that AfterBuzz TV does every week. You can find us all over the social web at AfterBuzz TV. You can find me at the Tiona Hobson on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And if you guys watch the Vampire Diaries, make sure you stay tuned because Katie and I will be right back with that breakdown.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.